Hello, you're watching QPVN News. I'm Anh Tuấn and we keep you up to date with the headlines. Ceremony marks 10 years of Vietnam's participation in UN peacekeeping operations. Shining symbol of Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, AMITY. Deputy Prime Minister KHAI received Japanese partners. To continue effectively and regularly carrying out local defense military work and strengthening provincial defensive areas. From May the 21st to the 25th, the Army Corps 12 Command coordinated with local authorities and armed forces of Ninh Bình, Hà Nam and Nam Định provinces to hold a discussion on local defense military tasks. At the conference, delegates from the provinces exchanged views on the development of economy, culture, society, political security and social order and safety in their areas. In the coming time, Army Corps 12 will enhance coordination and information exchange with the provinces, fostering a strong connection in carrying out local defense military tasks. They will proactively review and strictly manage military zones and defense facilities of the Corps, facilitating coordination in economic and social development while maintaining a solid defensive posture. The Corps will also be ready with forces and vehicles to closely cooperate with the localities in disaster prevention and search and rescue, forest fire prevention and response to other potential environmental disasters. Recently, the permanent mission of Vietnam to the United Nations held a ceremony in New York to celebrate the 76th anniversary of the International Day of UN Peacekeepers and 10 years of the country's participation in UN peacekeeping operations. Addressing the event, Ambassador Đặng Hoàng Giang emphasized that Vietnam's peacekeeping force is relatively young but has made significant contribution to international peacekeeping operations over the past 10 years, winning high evaluations from UN leaders, administrations, and people in the host countries. The result evidences the party and state's right policy of sending Vietnamese personnel to UN peacekeeping operations since June 2014, helping successfully carry out the foreign policy of independence, self-reliance, multilateralization, and diversification of international relations, and being a responsible and active member of the UN and the international community. On behalf of the Vietnamese officers working at the UN, military attaché Colonel Nguyễn Đức Quân pledged to continue efforts to fulfill the assigned task by the party and state properly. At the ceremony, participants also held a minute of silence in commemoration of UN peacekeepers who fell down while performing duties, including Lieutenant Colonel Đỗ Anh of the Vietnam People's Army. Trường Sơn Trail is about 20,000 kilometers long, including many sections passing through 17 districts of Laos and 7 provinces of Cambodia. These soldiers, youth volunteers, and people of Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia have put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to build, protect, and transport human and material resources to serve the resistant war against the common enemy of the three nations. In the Golden Book of the Trường Sơn Soldiers written in 1973, General Secretary Lê Duẩn wrote, Trường Sơn Trail is the trail of a will to win, the trail of courage and heroic spirit. That is the trail connecting the three Indochina countries.
In 1959, the Vietnamese Politburo decided to open the Trường Sơn Trail to provide aid to the south. During the 16 years of war, 1959-1975, the U.S. imperialists carried out 733,000 airstrikes, dropped 4 million tons of bombs and tens of thousands of tons of toxic chemicals on the border areas. Despite the brutal destruction, the people of Laos, Cambodia wholeheartedly supported the Vietnamese soldiers in opening and securing the trail as transporting goods. It is impossible to describe all the priceless feelings the Laos and Cambodian people had for the Vietnamese soldiers. During 16 years of Trường Sơn Soldiers operation, 14 years they were operating in Laos and 75% of their activities were in Lao territory. They supplied us when we ran out of food. We always bear in our mind that without the love, care, and support of the people, the task could hardly be accomplished. Returning the love and care of the people, Vietnamese military units actively joined the fight to fight the Lao Army and the Cambodian Liberation Army to protect the base and the people, at the same time helped the people with cultivation and natural disaster relief. Such emotional attachment was once again vividly recreated in the journey to survey the Ho Chi Minh Trail relic sites in Laos by the Vietnam People's Army delegation at the end of March 2023. Surveying 16 out of the 19 relic clusters, passing through 7 border provinces of Vietnam and Laos, the 20-day and night journey, though not long, was enough to generate intimate emotions among members of the working group. The 1,000-mile journey has become a beautiful memory, anchored by the warm and loving emotions that the Lao tribes have for the group members every time they stop by. Today is the first time I have worked with Vietnamese soldiers for nearly 20 days. As the Lao people often say, eat rice off the same tray, eat fish in the same bowl, eat bananas from the same bunch. That has made us close and attached, demonstrating the good friendly relationship of our two militaries that were other than many of its kind in the world. Relevant agencies of the defense ministries of Vietnam and Laos have completed scientific documents and carried out the next steps for the Lao side to submit to its government for consideration and recognition of the Trường Sơn Ho Chi Minh Trail in Laos. The two sides also agreed on a plan for zoning, preserving, repairing, and restoring monuments as a basis for advising and proposing the two defense ministries to consider and include it in the cooperation plan in the next years. Trường Sơn Trail has become a shining symbol of solidarity and the faithful relationship of the three brotherly nations of Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia.
Coming up next, Deputy Prime Minister KHAI receives Japanese partners. National Parks cradle of biodiversity conservation. On May the 25th, Deputy Prime Minister KHAI received leaders of Japan's Gunma Prefecture, Idemitsu Group, and Mitsu Oil Exploration Company Limited, MOECO, as part of his trip to Japan to attend the 29th Future of Asia Forum in Tokyo. Receiving Governor of Gunma Yamato Ichita, Deputy Prime Minister KHAI stressed the potential for cooperation between the two countries as the two sides have established more than 100 pairs of relations and local cooperation, one of the important pillars that need to be strongly promoted within the comprehensive strategic partnership. For his part, the governor pledged to advance related commitments, memoranda of understanding and cooperation agreements to strengthen the prefecture's friendly and cooperative relations with Vietnamese ministries, sectors and localities. As planned, the governor will lead a business delegation to Vietnam this year with a focus on the country's IT and digital transformation areas. At his meeting with Executive Vice President of Idemitsu, Sakai Noriaki, the Deputy Prime Minister encouraged the groups to expand its business activities in Vietnam, especially in energy transition and technology transfer, to help Vietnamese enterprises integrate more deeply into regional and global supply chains. The Japanese business leader stated that Vietnam is Idemitsu's largest investment destination globally, with ventures in 7 fields. He confirmed that the group will continue to expand its operations in the country and work closely with the Petro-Vietnam and other stakeholders to ensure the effective and stable operation of the Nghi Sơn refinery and petrochemical project, benefiting all parties involved. At his meeting with MOECO President and CEO Harada Hidenori, the Deputy Prime Minister applauded the company's major investment in Vietnam to continue to a stable energy supply, zero net emissions, FDI expansion, and labor cooperation. He urged the company to scale up its capital channels into Vietnam to match its financial capacity and technological expertise, and called for increased cooperation and technology transfer. Moeco president, for his part, affirmed that the company will continue to coordinate closely with Vietnam Oil and Gas Group and relevant ministries to soon implement projects in the country. A delegation from the Petro-Vietnam Exploration Production Corporation PVEP, led by chairman of the PVEP Members Council, Trần Quốc Việt, on May the 24th, held a working session with their colleagues of Russia's Reup joint stock company in Russia to discuss potential cooperation areas. At the meeting, both sides introduced and discussed potential areas of cooperation, especially in the field of oil and gas exploration and exploitation techniques. Deputy Director General for Business Development at Reup, Vyacheslav Tiraniev, introduced the company's new development directions, including geothermal energy, import substitution, and digital transformation. At the event, a memorandum of understanding was signed between VNIINEFT and PVEP's Technical Center to concretize their cooperation opportunities. The national park, with an important forest ecosystem, is a place to conserve the diverse, rare and endemic genetic resources of biodiversity of both Vietnam and the world. So national parks are regarded as the cradle of biodiversity conservation, valuable asset of each country. Currently, in addition to preserving and rescuing rare wildlife species, national parks have launched many new and creative programs to contribute to disseminating and raising public awareness of biodiversity conservation.
These wild animals are evidence of an illegal wildlife transport case 4 months ago in Bình Phước. The animals have now been handed over to Bù Gia Mập National Park Management Board for care and protection as regulated. After being handed over to the national park, the animals are cared and practiced their wild instincts. Then they will be back to the natural environment. Along with Bù Gia Mập National Park, 33 other national parks across Vietnam are also places to preserve important genetic resources, both domestically and globally. Therefore, in addition to continuously protecting typical forest ecosystems, conserving, rescuing, nurturing, and releasing wild animals, the national parks have developed many tourism products associated with wildlife conservation and education to raise public awareness of biodiversity conservation. We will further design tours that tell stories and widely extend messages calling on tourists to join hands with us in conserving biodiversity in Vietnam. Currently, Vietnam ranks 14 in the ranking of biodiversity in the world and is one of the 3 Southeast Asian countries highly rated for biodiversity. Along with the efforts of national parks, the joint efforts of the whole community will contribute to preserving the precious value of forests for a sustainable future.
This is the end of the QPVN News today. Remember to watch our news again at qpvn.vn. Thank you for watching and goodbye for now.